Hi, my name is Sissy, and I want to welcome you to my show, Getting Healthy with Sis. I am married to my hunky husband, Matt, and together we own a fitness and nutrition coaching studio in Lakeland, Florida called Restoration Fitness and Nutrition. We have 2 little boys, and I've been a nutrition coach for 5 years, helping countless people to revamp their lives and see amazing results implementing one healthy habit at a time. My passion is to help women just like me realize they don't have to be a victim to poor eating habits and poor health. Instead, through proper education and empowerment, they can take control of their health and live the healthiest and happiest life possible. As you tune into my show, I promise you're going to learn new things about your health. You're going to be inspired to take action towards your goals, and you're going to have a ton of fun along the way. Welcome back to the podcast. I am here. We're at episode 20, okay? And we are in December. We're finishing up the year strong here. So I hope that you guys are having a great holiday season so far. So today on the podcast, I have my friend and a fellow nutrition coach and director of nutrition at the gym that she works at, Liz Grossman. I'm going to give you guys a quick bio on her just so you can get to know her a little bit. And we're going to kind of get to know her even a little bit more with some fun questions. And then we're going to dive into today's topic where she and I are going to be talking back and forth about how important it is to have the right mindset and how we have seen mindset, like the right mindset, either make it or break it for our clients. So we're going to be diving into that topic today. So I'm super excited for you guys to get to know her. You're going to really love her. So just a little background on Liz. Liz graduated from Union University in 2011 with a bachelor's degree in psychology. So what better person to talk to about mindset, because she's studied that some. She went on to pursue her master's in social work in 2012. And from there, she worked in a nonprofit for 4.5 years. During that time, she found CrossFit and started pursuing coaching and found her passion. She wound up leaving her career in social work to pursue coaching full-time in 2018. She's CrossFit Level 2 certified. She's a certified nutrition coach through Healthy Steps Nutrition, and she is also certified with her Level 1 certification through Precision Nutrition. She currently is the director of nutrition at Wholestrength Crossfit and Nutrition in Nashville, Tennessee, where she is currently coaching 20 amazing clients in a one-on-one capacity. In addition to coaching at Wholestrength, she is part of the HSN Mentoring Program, coaching the coaches team. And in this program, she has the opportunity to help coach nutrition coaches from a client's perspective as they implement nutrition coaching in their gyms. So that's a little bit about her. Welcome to the show, Liz.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
Yeah, welcome. So as we're kind of just getting to know you a little bit, I wanted to ask you just first off,
Mhm.
what is if you are not coaching or at the gym or working in some capacity, like what are you doing? If you're not at work, what are you doing?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. What am I doing if I'm not at the gym? I feel like I'm at the gym a lot.
Right.
I'm hanging out with my husband, or I'm hanging out with my dog. We like to take her to the park, get outside. What else am I doing? Yeah, I feel like I don't have a lot of time outside of work.
Busy. You're busy. Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you like living in the Nashville area?
Yeah, I love it. So I'm from West Tennessee, which is 2 hours away.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm like close to home, but far away enough. And our community's here. We live right around the gym, and so have a great community involved in our church community as well. So like our roots are here, and we really enjoy it.
So cool. So tell us this. Tell me if you are going to have a cheat meal, what are you going to have? Or a treat?
Yeah, so I will say I don't necessarily call them cheat meals.
Okay.
I just try to have some balance throughout my life. But I will
Yeah.
say if like we're gonna go out to eat, like I really love sushi. So
Mm,
like a treat feels like I'll eat sushi, like go out to a nice restaurant, have that. Yeah, or that or like a good burger place.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
love
that's
it.
so cool. Um, what do you feel like has been like, so as you were introduced to CrossFit, how many years ago? About 6, 7 years ago?
2016, so 8. Yeah.
Okay. So what was it that like really hooked you in, do you feel like, about like the culture and like the whole health and fitness and nutrition culture?
So I grew up playing sports my whole life. So super competitive. Like I feel like I have a really competitive mindset. Like I think I went in on a Saturday to Wholestrength for it was like a community workout. And I had
Mhm.
been doing different types of like boot camps, but I just like I was going by myself. I would just leave by myself. I wouldn't talk to anybody. But with CrossFit, I found like everybody was so welcoming that first day. I signed up right on the spot. And that was 8 years ago, I think this month. And I haven't really looked back. I think just the community aspect, like the supportive aspect, it was like people talked to me and we were having fun working out rather than me just going into a gym and not talking to anybody and then leaving. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
So I feel like I started to get direction when I found
Mhm.
CrossFit of what I was
Mhm.
doing.
That's
If that
awesome.
makes sense.
That's awesome. And what, as you began to dive into CrossFit and begin to enjoy it, and then began to pursue coaching, what was like the big thing for you that kind of led you more into the nutrition side of things and becoming a nutrition coach?
I think it was my own experience,
Okay.
my own experience with nutrition and my relationship with food and like overcoming what I had overcome and really saw the benefits of, wow, like I don't have to fear this. Like it's actually my friend and it actually does really great things for me. And so when I recognized that and really was able to like heal that in my life, it's like I really saw how it really just changed my life and changed my perspective on a lot of things. And I just wanted to start helping people. I was really interested, like with psychology, I studied that. I realized a lot of it goes into like behavior change and helping clients, as you probably know, it's like, it's a lot of behavior change. It's not just us telling people what to eat. It's really talking about like routines and habits and their thoughts around things and how can we change our mindset in
Right.
order to be able to pursue what you're wanting for yourself. And so
Mm,
all of that to say, I think it was really just my own experience, overcoming that and really being passionate about helping other people um, overcome things and reach their goals too.
that's good. So let's unpack that a little bit. When you say you had to overcome some things, what's coming to your mind, like with your relationship with food or your past or whatnot?
Yeah, I
Bring up.
think just, I think just I had a negative relationship with food.
Okay,
I
what do you mean by that?
So meaning, I struggled a little bit just being vulnerable here. I struggled a little bit with an eating disorder.
Okay.
And I think just I grew up overweight and I was
Mhm.
bullied, made fun of a little bit. And I think that really stuck with me. And so I think I feared food as this is going to make me gain
Mm,
weight and I don't like this word, but be fat. I had to like overcome those thoughts
mm,
because of what I experienced when I was younger. And so I think just growing up, playing sports, being in college, being that vulnerable age, I
mm,
really had to overcome thoughts of, okay, food is not there to hurt me. It's actually
mm,
here to benefit me. And if I can heal my relationship with food and bring balance into my
mm,
life, 'cause that's what I was missing. I was just missing lots of balance. I
mm,
didn't know proper nutrition. I didn't know to eat vegetables. I didn't know what protein was. Like I was just not educated and I just thought everything was bad. Um, and so that's what I mean, kind of overcoming all of that. Sorry,
That's awesome.
dog's barking as well.
No, you're good. I love that. So was that process going on in your 20s, or was that something like once you joined a CrossFit community that it kind of was like amplified and ramped up, or what?
Right. CrossFit, I feel like helped me heal a little bit. I was struggling with this mindset and relationship. You probably, let's see, gosh, high school, well on into college, well on into when I moved to Nashville. And then when I found CrossFit, I became more interested in like how much weight was on the bar than like what the weight was on the scale.
Hmm.
Like I just started to be like, no, I love this. I want to perform really well. And for
Mm,
me to perform well and feel good, I've got to fuel my body
mm.
correctly.
That's awesome. So it's like your focus changed instead of like eliminate this, hold back from this, use self-control, like, hey, I want to challenge myself to get stronger and to see how much weight I can lift. And like in that, your relationship with it all changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And actually looking back, it's really cool to see how just healing it was. And I think also being around such a supportive community, like the CrossFit community is just so supportive. Like we're all there just trying to lead healthier lives. And so I think just like I met my people and I was missing that support and like that social support that what we talk about with our clients, it's really important.
right. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. I love that you were vulnerable and let us in on that. I think that probably a lot of people listening, and there are a lot of people out there that struggle with that. And that's even something that I have kind of seen with clients, and maybe we can talk about this for a second, is um, there is this like, if I want to lose, then I have to like restrict. When I've actually seen it quite the opposite.
Mhm.
Like, hey, if you want to lose and get lean, you actually have to eat, and you have
Mhm.
to eat enough of the right foods and get your body nourished so that it feels safe, and is
Yeah.
that something that you've, I mean, seen and experienced firsthand?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think for me too, it was more or less like number one, being educated. I just didn't know a lot about nutrition. In college, it's like we were eating cafeteria food. And when I came to Nashville, I was still young in my 20s, still kind of had a wild streak in me, like going out all the time, and alcohol was in my life. And so just the effects of all of that, I think, just really being educated on, okay, number one, what does Liz actually want? Like actually sitting down and thinking, what does Liz want for her life? So I never
Mm,
really did think about that.
right,
Um, because I was just letting other people kind of lead my life. My friend group, just doing what they were doing.
right,
So I think number one, when I sat down and actually was thinking, okay, what do I want for my life? What do I want it to look like? Then that's when I started to be like, well, I don't want it to look like this. So there's some things I need to change.
right.
And one of them was I got like really into CrossFit. I wanted to be good at it. I'm like, well, I can't be good at CrossFit if I'm eating this way or treating my body this way. Like I have
Right,
to give it some kindness. And this is
right,
what that needs to look like.
right. Right. Yeah. I'm thinking of a client that I recently coached, and she was actually a friend from college. We were roommates our freshman year, and she reached out to me several months ago and was like, hey, I see that you're a nutrition coach. I'd love to work with you for a little while. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And this girl has always been super tiny. Like she is like 4'11" or 5 foot tall, like 95 pounds, But when she came to me, she was like, I just want to get stronger. And she had been working out at a CrossFit gym. She was a nurse in the ER, super busy life. She was like, I just want to get stronger. And so it was just really cool to like help her work on that goal. And as we were working on that goal, and again, eating enough,
Mm-hmm.
she started eating more
Mm-hmm.
than she had been before, and then enough protein and balanced meals, eating enough. She was like messaging me all the time. I had a new PR, and she's like tiny. I hit a new PR today. I weight like I'm using the 30-pound dumbbells in my workout. I'm like, dang girl, like that's
Yeah.
awesome, you know. But her body began to lean out
Mhm.
as she ate more, and as her goal was to get stronger and work harder in that way, she kind of like reaped the benefits of it,
Yep.
you know. And I think back to when I had Melinda North on the podcast several months ago, but she, who you know, Melinda, she's a nutrition coach and she's on staff with HSN, but she said something that what really stuck out to me, and it might have even been from Dr. Christina Migliara.
Mhm.
Sometimes we want our goals so bad that we actually wind up strangling them, trying
Yeah.
to get them.
Yep.
And so, kind of like what I hear you saying is like, it's more about what are we going towards than like, what
Mhm.
are we staying away from, that I think is
Yes.
really powerful, you know?
That's such a powerful, and I feel like that's more of like an addition mindset, right? I talk
Right.
to my clients about that all the time. It's like, hey, we're coming for this. Is like, what do we add, what do we want to add to our life? Like, how is this going to optimize our life, not take away? And I think when I recognized that in my early 20s, when I would, maybe skip meals on purpose and do all these things, like I can't fathom doing that now because like I gotta eat. Like I gotta eat. And so when I
Yes.
started to eat in a more routine manner, a more balanced diet, I was like, oh my gosh, like what have I been missing? Like, why did
Yeah.
I think this was
Right.
such a terrible thing to do when in reality it was such a healing thing for me?
That's so good. That's
Yeah.
so good. Do you feel like you have any clients that you've been able to really help walk through what you've walked through? Like give us some examples, or does anyone come to mind?
Yeah, so I have a client right now who I've been working with since January. She is amazing. Like, I just want to shout her from the rooftops because when I met her, she just had her year one CrossFit anniversary. She joined a year ago. I actually did her intro, signed her up. She was like the easiest sign up ever. She did our nutrition challenge in January, and then she's been my client since.
Okay.
But she came in with lots of background story that I won't go into, but she had lost about 70 pounds on her own just
Okay.
from running. She started running herself. And
Okay.
there was some relationship with food, things that we worked through, but it's taken a lot of time to do that. And what's been really cool to see is that as she's trusted me, I asked her to trust me. I was like, just trust me here. I know that you don't necessarily, you might not feel like this is the best way to move forward, but she was so open to everything. She was like, Liz, I trust you. Like, I want this for myself. I'm going to do
Mhm.
these things. As the years gone on, like her relationship with food, herself, even not just with food, but like herself, she is just so kind and compassionate and like to herself where she wasn't before. She would let the scale dictate what she did for the day. She would step
Mhm.
on it, see a number. If she was happy with it, she would be okay. If she wasn't, she would either exercise more. So just do things that weren't really optimizing her life.
Right. Right.
Um, I told her to take rest days. She's trusted me to take some rest days. She's gotten her period back.
Wow.
All this work that we've done together. I've
Wow.
helped her to eat more, and not just for the sole purpose of eating more. It's like, hey, let's
Yeah.
eat more because your body is telling you it needs more. It needs
Mhm.
more nourishment,
Mhm.
right? As you know, our cycle, our period is like one of the hugest biomarkers of
Mhm.
health for women.
Right.
And so when she recognized that, she was like, wow, that's really important. Yes, I want to be the healthiest version of myself. So it's just
Mhm.
been really cool to see her growth, not only her trust in me, but like her trust in herself. Her trust
Yeah.
in herself that her body is going to do what it needs to do with the things that she's nourishing it with.
Right.
And
Right.
I think that's scary at first It was scary at first. It was scary for me at first as well. But once you trust and like go through the process, and that's why it's really great having a coach because they can guide you through the process.
Mhm.
But once you go through that process and learn that trust within yourself, it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like she's just blown away with how good she feels, with
Yeah.
just how strong she feels now, with just
Yeah.
the mindset shift that she's had in a year,
Mhm.
all from just slowly working through these things. So hopefully I answer your question, but she's just one that really stands out to me as a
Yeah. And has she made like, so when she started, was she wanting to continue to make progress in like body composition, like losing more weight? Has she
yeah.
continued to do that as she's trusted the process?
So what's interesting is she did want that in the beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think it sort of changed in the process. She
Mm-hmm.
thought that her biggest goal was to get down to a certain body fat percentage.
Okay.
But as we did some kind of mindset work and really like the importance around that, she recognized that, okay, maybe that's not a healthy goal for me. Like a
Right.
healthy goal for me is just to be healthy and be
That's good.
able to do the things I want to do. So to answer your question, she did see some progress at first, but she's basically kind of maintained her progress through
Mhm.
this year, but it's been more mindset progress that she's had rather than body composition.
Yeah. I mean, I see that. I definitely have seen that as like, and especially as women, or I'm sure men as well, but I coach mostly women, but I do coach men, but like, um, you know, you have this number in your mind that like happiness is tied to that. And then when you get there, you're like, okay, another 5 pounds, like I'm still not happy. I'm still not happy. And so it's like, well, happiness really wasn't tied to that. It's
Mm-mm.
been deeper going on, and so
I don't
that's
know
that's
how, I don't,
awesome.
yeah, I don't know how you do this, but I encouraged her to put the scale away.
Mhm.
Like, let's not pay attention to the scale. I do this
Mhm.
with a lot of my clients as well. Yes, we do in bodies, but I
Mhm.
encourage people, hey, don't step on the scale until we do an in body. Like, there's no point in it. It's just gonna, if you have kind of a different, if you have that skewed relationship with a scale already, it's not gonna do you any good. So let's
Yes.
put the scale away. And that's where I've seen just like the biggest shift is when we can put our focus, because if we put our focus on external things, you've probably heard this before, it'll just we'll always be let down.
Mhm.
Like the scale will let you down. It's
Mhm.
not important to put our focus there. Let's put our focus on what's internal and what you really want.
Mhm.
And then you'll really see some progress because those
Right.
outside factors are just going to be distracting.
Right. That's so good. I love it. That's awesome. So when we were talking kind of and just kind of chit-chatting about, what we've seen and, how we've been able to coach clients and help clients, one of the things that we were talking about last week as we were talking about this episode is just the help with mindset, which we've been talking about that some so far, just in a different vein, but how we help our clients with mindset. And um, so I wanted to pick your brain on how you have seen, your clients that have had the most success, like what's happening in here. I know we talked a little bit about, sometimes it's very easy to see clients that have one foot in and one foot out,
Mm-hmm.
and they like just kind of either never go anywhere or they stall out eventually. And so, kind of what have you seen with your clients who are either like all bought in or they're just kind of wishy washy and how that affects their journey and their progress?
Yeah, yeah. So the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is I'd like think about my clients, just kind of examples here, but the ones that I see that progress the most and reach like as close to their goal or get to their goals that they want for themselves are the ones that don't make excuses. Just being honest. Like they're the ones that are like, okay, this is really important to me and I'm not going to let anything get in the way. Yes, life happens. There's going
Yeah.
to be barriers. but they recognize that and don't let the barrier stop them. They're just truck through. So I feel like my clients who see the most progress are the ones that make the less excuses. The clients that are kind of one foot in, one foot out, they say that they want this goal, but I hear a lot of, work is so busy, or I can't do this because of this, like putting blame on other outside factors rather than just taking ownership and saying, I actually just made this choice. It's not anybody else's fault. I just made this choice. I know that may seem a little harsh, but honestly, I have one client who she lives a little farther away. She's just amazing. She lives in Mount Juliet, which is probably a 25 to 30-minute drive. When she joined the gym, she lived closer, but she wanted to continue what she signed up for. And she literally drives to the gym for the 5:30 a.m. class every morning. She like didn't miss a day in October. Drives to the gym every morning because she told me, she said, I found myself giving myself excuses why I wasn't going to make it to the gym. And she was like, I told myself I wasn't going to give myself excuses. So I'm doing this. And I was like, that is so powerful. She owned it and saying, I was giving myself excuses, but I don't want that for myself. So I'm going to follow through with what I'm doing because it's important to her.
Yeah, for sure. So for our listeners who are listening today, like let's kind of run through like how do you know if you're making excuses for yourself?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
what those things sound like in your brain, you know?
yeah, yeah. So I had a coach tell me, and this has stuck with me. He was one of my coaches last year. He said, you will always find a way, or you'll find an excuse for the things that are important to you. And that really stood out to me because I found myself, for example, what you just said, I'll give you an example for me when I know that I'm making excuses would be like, I didn't finish some of my training because I was too tired, or I just didn't have the time, or I didn't do this because I didn't want to. Whatever it is, it's like I didn't do something because of blank. But in reality, that's always stood out to me because he said, just make a choice and take ownership of it. Don't put blame on anything else. So if you didn't finish training, you didn't finish it because you just didn't want to. And just own it.
Right.
Not because you didn't have time, because you could have made time if it was important.
Right.
Again, that's a little harsh, but do what?
But being honest with yourself
Yes.
instead of living in this world where it's like, I'm a victim and it's just happening
Yes.
and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no, I didn't really want to, and I don't really want to do that, or I don't want to eat that way, or I don't want to meal prep. And
Mhm.
so at least when you start saying that, if you have a coach, but if you don't and you're listening to this, I would encourage you then to ask yourself, well, why don't I want to?
Mhm.
Dig a little bit deeper. Well, why not? Because you can get to something of substantial value there that you can actually really look at and be honest with yourself about. And then that goes back to what you were saying earlier is like, what is it that you really want?
Mhm. Yeah. And
Even know that, what do you want?
I think that's an important question to ask yourself for the listeners out there is that's just a powerful question. Like, what do you want? I remember asking myself that years ago. Like, what do you want? Whether
Yeah.
that be like, what do you want in your personal life? What do you want professionally? What do you want out of your health and fitness goals? And then go from there. And like, why is it important to you for that? Like, we have to think we have to think deeper and think better about our choices. And that's what I love helping clients do is I don't just tell them what to do, right? And you don't either. Yes, we bring expertise in when it's needed and give them the information they need in education, but it's like, I want our clients, and if you're listening, we want you to be able to make the best choice possible for yourself with what you're wanting for yourself. you
And I
know?
think sometimes Matt and I, as business owners, we've been challenged to ask ourselves from like a business owner standpoint, what do we want? And
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes it's very easy for me, like growing up as a Christian and having a relationship with the Lord, like kind of like one of the, like a pillar in, Christianity is like deny yourself. Like it's not all about like making yourself feel good and getting everything that you want and all that. So sometimes I actually just being vulnerable, I can have a hard time with asking myself that and being honest about it because
Yeah.
I feel like, well, I maybe don't deserve that, or is that wrong to want something and then to go get it? And I think that like that might be being a Christian or not, like that might be something that people have an issue with. Like, do I deserve this? Am I
Mm-hmm.
worthy of this? Am I allowed to want something and actually go get it? You know,
Yeah.
would you agree with that?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I have those feelings too. Like,
But sometimes it's hard to give ourselves permission to be okay wanting something for ourselves and then having the courage to be honest about how we're going to go about getting that.
yeah, I think I see this might be kind of going off tangent, but I notice sometimes that with people that like want to lose weight and have some inner circle and of their support be like, well, why? Like, why do you want to do that? And like having to combat well, like, is it bad that I want to lose weight? Like, I want to be healthy. It's like there's so many different things that come into play, like culturally or just people in your life just saying different things. And it's like, wait, let's really figure out, okay, this is important to me. Yes, and
Right.
it's okay that it's important to me.
Right. That's so good. So if you are listening, I want you to go ahead and whether you're in your car or you're getting ready for the day, like I want you to stop and jot that question down. And I want you to come back to this or pause this episode and think about it. Like, what do you want?
Mhm.
What do you want for yourself? And once you decide that, what it is that you want, this is something that Liz and I do with our clients, and it's the asking why question. So I want you to take that statement that you say that you want. Some people, it might be surface level, like I want to feel confident on my honeymoon in my bathing suit or something. Like I don't know what it is. But I want to encourage you to then take that, whatever your answer is, and then ask yourself why. Well, why do I want that? And typically what kind of experts will say here and what we see is that if you'll ask yourself why like 4 to 5 times, typically when you get down to that fourth or fifth, well, why? Well, why do you want that? Why? You'll get to like really what means something to you.
Mhm.
And I really feel like that it's super important to get to that
Mhm.
because that's actually going to be your anchor that's going to help you be all in.
Yes.
And if you are unfamiliar with why what you're wanting is important to you and any opposition comes, you're going to be like, oh, whatever, I can't do this. I've never been able to do it. I'm too busy. I can't, it's too hard. You're going to let excuses come up. But if you can really be anchored to that, then it's going to help to drive your decisions. And what I always say is, typically when people come to us, they hire a nutrition coach, they hire a fitness coach. They are doing that because they have had a hard time making it a priority on their own.
Mhm.
They have not figured out how to prioritize this and make it happen in their life. So they're like, hey, maybe if I get some accountability and I like part ways with my money a little bit, this can become like a pillar in my life. But sadly, and one thing that I share in the coaching room a lot is, look, if I'm having marital issues and we hire a counselor, we could pay $500 an hour for the best counselor in our area. And if just because we part ways with our money does not mean that we're going to get help. Like
Exactly.
Matt and I have to leave that session and come home and do hard work.
Yep. Gotta get to work.
To us to get the help that we need. So just because you hire someone does not mean that you are getting your problem solved. That's just you put yourself in the opportunity to get help to get them solved. But anyway,
Yeah.
so where was I going with that?
We were talking about your why and why it's important. And I think too, just if I could chime in on that, is we talked about too before we hopped on here on that phone call, is that our words are really powerful. And so the things that we're telling ourselves, whether that's we'll start to believe that. So just like you said a second ago, excuses, I'm too tired, or I just don't have time, like work's too busy, my work-life balance is out of whack, and just these excuses, you're going to start to believe that. Rather than if we could dig deep into the why, then when those thoughts come up, you're able to combat those a little bit better and say, okay, yes, I'm tired, but it's a priority for me because of this. And so therefore, I'm going to find a way to do this. Maybe it's not going to look like I want it to. Maybe it's not going to be an hour CrossFit class. Maybe it can be a 20-minute walk. Right? But something is better than nothing. And so all that to say, words are really powerful, and getting to your why is really going to help you move forward and be able to combat those negative thoughts and turn them into like, okay, like I hear you thoughts, but I'm going to do this differently, because I have to do it all the time. Just as coaches, and I'm sure you too, we both have to combat those thoughts all the time.
100%. Yes.
But I know what's important to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find a way.
Right.
to do
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of like what I was saying it just a second ago is like, you and I get hired in people's lives to help them with this. They hired us because they already are acknowledging this is a very low priority for me on the totem pole. I'm just not making room for it. I'm not making it a priority. And so there's got to be some type of, it actually has to move.
Yep.
It has to get up here and like, this is like my top 3, top 4, like it's gonna happen today. Like whatever it is that you're working on, like what you said, it might not be an hour CrossFit class, but like I'm gonna move my body sometime today. Like I am going to make choices to nourish my body. It might not be a perfect thing, and it doesn't have to be, but I'm going to do this. So it's gotta move up. You weren't doing it before because it was not a priority. It's got to move up. And, Liz and I wish so much, I know it's true, being a compassionate, empathetic coach. We want it so bad for our clients sometimes. And sometimes it's just, we're like, my hands are tied. You're going to have to put in the work, And so we say that. Right. If you're listening to this, you're going to have to dig. We're here to support you, but you're going to have to dig in and do the hard work to discover what is it that I want and how do I move it up so that I can actually make this happen. Do you have big goals for your health, but you're unsure of where to start, and you feel like you need the guidance and expertise of a nutrition coach that can lead you down the path to success? Well, if that's you, I've got just the solution for you. I want to encourage you to go to my website, Restoration Fitness LKLD, and click the button that says book a free intro. We will sit down with you, learn more about your goals, and pair you up with a perfect nutrition coach to give you the guidance, direction, and accountability that you need to reach your health goals and to obtain results that will last a lifetime. It's important to also mention that we do offer coaching both in person and virtually. So if you're not in the Lakeland, Florida area, no worries, we've got you covered. Again, I want you to go to my website, restorationfitnesslkld.com, and book your free intro today. I want to share a quick little kind of one of my whys right now. And then we're going to do a little exercise with Liz, since she's the guest on the show, and we're going to do the little why puzzle with her. So with one of her personal goals. So, you guys know I am like 3.5 weeks away from giving birth right now. And certainly pregnancy is long and it's hard and it's a sacrifice and it is not easy at all. And the beginning part is really hard for me because I'm sick and nauseous and it's just disgusting. It's awful. I do not like the beginning part of pregnancy. But then like the middle comes and I start to kind of get my life back a little bit, but I'm still like coming off of like 3 or 4 months of literally being like a couch potato. And I just am disgusted. I'm just like, this is like, because it's so opposite from who I am in normal life. Like I'm like, go, 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 be active. Anyway, so, but typically by like the 3rd trimester, I'm like, I feel huge and I feel uncomfortable, but I realized that I do get this like new drive in me. And this being like my third, my 3rd time being about to deliver at 9 months, I feel like in this pregnancy for myself, I am more driven to stay active than I ever have been before. And so I have been asking myself, well, why? Like this morning I was up working out, like in my living room at 5:45, like why am I doing that? And it has nothing to do with like a certain body or physique or anything like that. But I think, as I've kind of asked myself, like, what's your motivation? And like, why are you going for walks? So see, like, why are you trying to still hit a step goal when you're so huge and uncomfortable? And I think for me, I look back and my last delivery was a C-section. And with my first baby, I'd heard, you want to be in really good shape because you're giving birth naturally. It's like the hardest workout of your life. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to try. But then with a C-section, it's kind of like a lazy birth. Like you just lay on the table and they cut you open and then you have your baby. Like there's not a lot of work involved. But when you have your abdomen sliced open and your muscles all moved around and everything, you realize actually how important you just had major surgery. Like it's important that you are not a blob, because you lose. I mean, I did not have control of my abs or my core, my middle section for a while. And so I like really had to depend on my upper body strength to like help me like pull myself out of bed. And, I was up in the hospital, I would walk laps on my floor. Like the nurses would, like in the middle of the night, they would be like, are you good? Are you okay? And I'd be like, I'm good. I'm just moving, just trying to keep my body moving. But I've been asking myself, and I think now more than ever, this being our 3rd child, I'm 36, my second C-section, knowing how hard that recovery is, knowing how hard that recovery is, I am super motivated to set myself up for as much success as possible in recovery because I know I have little people depending on me. Like I'm going to have 3 children this time. And I can't be just like, oh, I've lost all muscle tone. I'm a blob of whatever, like I want to be able to recover in an efficient and a time efficient way, in a manner. And so I think, when I'm on the floor doing certain things or I'm out there walking right now and I'm like, I'm kind of in pain, I'm like, it's all right. This is going to be worth it on the other end of this. And so that's something like for me, an example of what has been a motivating factor for me to continue to prioritize this for myself when I could easily be like, I'm 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay in bed. I'm sleepy. I don't feel good, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a personal example of like one of my whys right now
It's
that
huge. Yeah.
is guiding me. So Liz, we're gonna finish up today by kind of walking with you through like the 4 to 5 why
Yeah.
questions. So let's start out by why don't you give us like one of your personal goals for your health, like the first thing that comes to mind.
I think for me, just right now in this season, goals change. So seasons change, goals can
Yeah.
change. Last year, goals were different. This year,
Right.
uh, has been a little different. So a goal for me is to get some sort of movement in every single day, whether that's a CrossFit class, and walking, like that's been really important to me too. So adding in walking, just
Mhm.
making sure I move my body in some form or fashion every
Okay.
single day.
Okay. So why is it important to you that you move your body every single day?
So I'll work a lot from home now, see clients virtually, and I notice that I'm sitting a lot more. And I've noticed that just like energy levels have been down. So it's just important for me. It's always been important for me to move every day, but specifically in the season, it's like, okay, I want to move every day because it's number one, going to make me feel my best during the day while I work from home. It's going to give me the energy that I need and I want. And it's just going to mentally, for like stress management, make me feel my best as well.
Mhm. So why is it important to you that you have energy and that you feel your best?
Because I know how it feels when I don't.
And how
Like
does it feel? How does it
it
feel?
feels it feels terrible. I'm not a happy person. Like I'm a better overall human being, a better wife, a better daughter, a better friend when I'm taking care of myself. And so moving every day is a non-negotiable because it makes me feel like myself. Like I'm just a better overall person, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So why is it important to you that you are like the best wife and daughter, friend
Yeah.
that you could be?
Um, I mean, yeah, I think just because I wanted to be the best version of myself. So I want to be present when I'm home with my husband. And if I'm just like a crabby person, like that's not being present. Right. And so being the best version of myself means being present and being able to contribute to like wanting to go hang out with friends. Like I've been in a season before where I'm just exhausted, too tired, too stressed, where I say like no to everything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not fun. That's not a way I want to live my life.
Right.
So movement, it goes more than just like it used to be all aesthetic, like I want to look a certain way.
Sure.
Like, yes, I want to be healthy and look
Sure.
good. That's important.
Right.
But it's
Right.
more or less now helping, yeah, again, with stress management and being present and feeling good. Also, too, to answer your question, too, I'm on the opposite end. I'm 36, don't have kids yet. And
Mm,
so I'm wanting to, move my body in a way that keeps me healthy, fuel
mm,
my body in a way that keeps me healthy to support um,
mm.
when we do have kids, childbirth, things like that.
That's right. Yeah, that's super good. So do you feel like through kind of digging a little bit, do you feel like what you have shared with us today is really the root and it's your big anchor, or do you feel like it goes a little bit deeper than that?
No, I think that's pretty much the root. Like if I go 2 days without
Mhm.
moving, whether that's walking or working out, it's not good. Like I feel it more mentally, honestly, than
100%.
anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's different than aesthetics. It's more or less
Yeah.
as I've gotten into this more, it's like just more my mental health that's really important for me.
100%. And I mean, one thing that I share with my clients, I'm like, if you haven't gotten here yet, And I know you and I are still young. Okay. So like probably our ladies that are listening, they're 50, 55, 60, they're going to be like, y'all shut up. You're just so young. But I'm like, if you haven't gotten here yet, you're going to start feeling this
Mhm.
physically when you eat a certain way and when you don't move.
Yes.
And I'm with you. Like me getting outside and just getting some sunlight and fresh air and walking, I mean, it does wonders.
Does
It does
wonders, girl.
wonders,
I'm like, oh my gosh.
and sometimes like if you're feeling sad or depressed or just
Mhm.
like I was telling one of my clients this past week, he was sharing with me, he's just been feeling down. I'm like, have you gone outside today?
Yeah.
It's actually really nice. Go sit outside. Like you're probably going to feel better. Just go get some fresh air and sunlight. Like you're going to feel a little bit better, And so I'm with you on that. And I feel like probably the older I get, there is such a mental benefit to it. And even just feeling, I think right now, even feeling like, yes, I did that.
Did it.
I'm
Yeah,
9 months pregnant with this huge stomach and
girl.
was doing planks, or like, and it's like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm strong. I did that. And that in itself is that like
Motivation to move
helps you
forward.
to live in a conquering mindset instead of a life is just happening to me and I
Yes.
just am, I suck and nothing's going right in my life. It can be, I think it can definitely be speaking about mental health and having the right mindset. When you're able to check those boxes each day, those are little wins you're having each day that add up.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to also bringing back trust to yourself
Mm-hmm.
and accountability to yourself and ownership. Like I have a client, a message is waiting for me. I read it, but we did squats yesterday and she leveled up in our squats and she was like, my mindset has changed so much in just a short amount of time to be able to like see that I can actually lift this weight is
Mm-hmm.
so empowering. And she's like, this is so awesome.
Right. Right. That's so, so good. Well, we're gonna wrap things up today. If you've listened this far, I hope that you have gained something. Liz, I really appreciate you being here and just even what you shared about how you kind of came out of having a poor relationship with food and just your journey of realizing like, I want to focus on what is it that I want, not what can I not have? How do I need to restrict myself? And how that was very life-giving. If you're someone that you identify with that, like I want you to encourage you, go back and listen to that again. Listen to what she said. Talk with a coach. Come talk with me or one of our coaches at Restoration about that. It is that is a very, very freeing way to view your life and your health. When you stop thinking about all the rules that you need to put in place and then like going towards something. So I loved what you shared there. And then I just loved what you shared about really asking yourself, what do you want? And giving yourself freedom to explore that. And so I want to encourage you, as just as some takeaways from today, to spend some time journaling about that. Like, what do you want for your health? And do you feel the freedom and the permission to pursue that? And if not, like, dig a little deeper as to maybe why you don't. There's like Liz said earlier, and sometimes I feel like this. I'm like, I feel like I'm a counselor.
Yeah.
I mean, like, or I need to be, like just there's so much psychologically that
So
goes
much.
on in our behavior that we have to be willing to look at if we want to get unstuck. And so I hope that this episode has been a blessing to you. If you have been listening, I hope that you've taken something away from it. I want to encourage you, if you are in the Lakeland area, or if you're in the Nashville area, y'all go check out Wholestrength CrossFit. You could work directly with Liz. But if you're in the Lakeland area, or maybe you're even outside the bounds a little bit, we do offer virtual coaching, but we also offer one-on-one in-person nutrition coaching. We have myself and 2 other amazing coaches that you are able to work one-on-one with. You can go to our website at www.restorationfitnesslkld.com, and you can click the button to book your free intro. Go ahead and book that. We'll either hop on the phone with you, or you can come in for an intro, and let's sit down with you, hear your goals, and point you in the right direction as far as which package is right for you, and how we can help you most achieve the goals that you're wanting for yourself. So without further ado, we're going to wrap things up for today, but thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.